So I was on OkCupid and I was talking to this guy, and we talked, and I thought we could be friends, maybe, because there's no way we could be more than friends. Because I think he has somewhere between 4 to 6 kids, or 4 kids, and maybe a step kid or something. And he was telling me he was married once, and he kicked his ex-wife's husband out of his house. And I'm like, okay, this woman is married and you kicked her husband out of their marital home. And I'm just like, this sounds crazy to me. And then he's living with the woman currently, and he's like, oh, I've slept with her a few times and it didn't work out, but it's like, you're still living with her. And then he's unemployed. And I'm just saying that screaming hobosexual to me. He's unemployed. And he's like, he's borrowing people's cars and different things and all this stuff. And I'm just like, why would I date this man who told me he has 4 to 5 children, divorced, kicked his wife's husband out of the house that he lived in while I guess he was away in the military or something. And he's living with the woman he's slept with, and he's trying to date me, and he has no job. But he feels like I played games with him, and it's like, did you not hear what you said to me? You're a walking red flag. But in that situation, I'm the bad guy again. And I'm like, do these men hear what they're telling me? And I'm like, some of them I've tried to give them a chance, but it's like, I can't. It's like, you're 45, you live with your mother, you're in the hood, and all this stuff, and you're working 2 jobs, and you live with your mother and sister at 45. It's like, I can accept you living with your mother at 45, like if your mother was a multimillionaire living in like a huge mansion or something. It's like, yeah, like if you lived on the property or even in the same house, if there was a huge mansion. But no, this is in the hood. It's like, you're living like deep in the hood where it's like bad, too dangerous to walk outside and all this. And it's 3 adults, and you have 2 jobs, and I don't know how many jobs your mother or your sister have. And I'm just like, why are you living with them in the first place? And then if you're all living together, putting in on rent, why are you living in the hood? Which makes no sense to me. Then there's the other guy who was living with his sister, and he tried to convince me that I had emotional issues and that I can't read. But you were 45, living with your sister and working 2 full-time jobs. All these people are talking about, and he's trying to convince me that he's the catch. And the funny thing is, I'm more educated than him. I have college degrees. I have degrees, certificates, and all kind of stuff. And he's trying to convince me I can't read and I have emotional issues. But I'm independent. I have run my own business. And I also have a full-time job. And I have an education and all this other stuff. And you're trying to convince me I can't read. And it's like, how did I finish school if I can't read? If I have to read and I have to write papers and stuff. So I'm just like, okay, he couldn't come up with anything else. And it was like, all these people are trying to get into my house. And it's just like screaming hobosexual. You're trying to get into my house. You're dependent on another person. You're trying to get in a relationship with me so you can get into my house and have me support you or take care of you and have a place to live. It just seems like red flag hobosexuals looking for a new place to go. And I'm like, no, I don't know any of you. I'm not letting you in my house. Which is weird. And they're trying to make it seem like I'm the bad person and they're victims. And it's like, how the hell are you a victim? You're trying to get in my house. I don't know you. And you're all pretty much homeless, basically, because if your mothers, your sisters, or your exes were like, no, you can't stay here, you would be homeless. And then you would think that they would have money or something. And it's like, no. And then the guy who has the kids and stuff, I even offered him a job. He said no, he didn't want it. Offered him a full-time job that paid him a decent amount of money. He did not want it. And it was like, okay, you have no job, you have no income. I offer you a job, and you're like, no. And it's like, oh, that's crazy. Yeah. And he's like, the woman he lives with is crazy. And it's like, you slept with her, she's supporting you, and she's crazy. Yeah, I definitely agree she's crazy for putting up with you and letting you live there and no, nothing. Which sounds crazy. But they all say I'm the bad person. And I'm trying to figure out, how am I the bad person? Because I've seen enough homosexual horror stories. You tell them where you live, you let them come over. They go to somewhere and start getting mail sent to your house, and you don't know it. And then they come and visit, and you might pick up the mail and put it down, and then they're like, oh, they take it, and then something happens, and you don't let them stay at your place. Next thing you know, they call the police, and they're like, oh, I live here. And then you're like, and the police are like, do you have proof? And then they're pulling out mail and ID and stuff. And it's like, oh shit, I got set up. And now this person lives with me, and I have to go evict them. And it's like, I never let this person come live with me. I've seen that in like the homosexual horror stories and stuff. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm not setting myself up for that, letting somebody. And then you never know. They might break into your mailbox and like steal the mail or something. Or like you could be at your house and they see where you put your keys and you go to the bathroom or something and they run out and go check your mail while they distract you, and they're like, oh, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go out to my car. And you keep your keys at your front door, and then they're out there and they'll go run to your mailbox and check it to see if they have any mail in there and keep the mail, and you never even see it. And then they put your keys back and you never even notice. And it's like, damn, these homosexuals. Yeah, they're trying to convince, and like that was the craziest one where he was trying to convince me that I could not read and that I had emotional problems. And it's like, yeah. And then there was this other one. He was from China, and he was like, oh, you're so great and everything. And then I said I wasn't an American citizen. Then the next thing you know, I'm weird, I'm crazy, and I'm all this. Because that's what they do. They go, you're weird, you're crazy, and all this when you don't want to do it. And then like the guy that kept trying to come to my house in the middle of the night, he was like, oh, you're being difficult. I keep trying to meet you, but the only place you're willing to meet is at my house at midnight. Why would I let some random man I don't know come to my house at midnight? That sounds crazy as hell. If you want to hear more horror dating stories, get back to me and watch and subscribe. Bye.